start with a little run through of my sketchbook. So I started this year, I actually made a sketchbook that this is made from watercolor paper. I accidentally purchased some of the smooth hot press paper, and I've done that several times over the years, so I've got a few packets of it. So I decided to make a sketchbook because it's actually really good for drawing on. I have done some gouache and watercolors in here as well. So the purpose of my sketchbook is for two reasons: to learn a bit of French, because I live in France and my French needs improving, and also to practice my drawing. So that was page one. Page two, a little sketch there. That was a photo from a photo I took when we were traveling in France, and inspired by a blue tit, a message bleu. We have plenty of those in the garden, and that's on our walk around our local area. And something I really want to improve on is portraits, so that's what I'm doing here. And there's a lot wrong with those, but you know, I can improve on them. So there's myself and Kate, my wife. And I find the hot press watercolor quite difficult to paint watercolors on. It takes longer for the I think the water and pigment to soak into the paper. So I'll just quickly run through this and then we'll finish this demo. I don't want to bore you. Cows, my nemesis, getting better at them. And that was quite a nice little demo. That's on my other channel, the Rob Me Art World. I think I used gouache in that one. I forget. I do so many paintings, I forget what medium I use sometimes, but it looks like gouache. That definitely was gouache that I painted that misty scene in watercolors, oils, and gouache. Again, more old barns. And I've done an oil painting of that. So again, as much as anything, it's the French phrases that I'm after to try and learn a bit of French. And that was from our local festival, Voce Classique Française, or Festival de Village. So if Chris is still watching, he'll be listening to my French and scoring me. There we go. Let me bring up the chat back again. There we go. Thank you, Chris. Chris is a member of the website, giving me the approval. More barns. And not sure about that one. That I did actually do a demo on the membership, which did come out quite well. I didn't get enough light here. So what I tend to do, if I do a page that doesn't work as I wanted it to, I'll put some gouache over it. Gesso, sorry, put some gesso over it and then do a painting. There was another page in here that I did that with. So something I really like about pencil drawings. They look great. And so that was a gouache painting. More barns. I think I'm obsessed with barns. My cat Rusty. So yeah, there was a drawing under there or a painting I wasn't happy with, so I put some acrylic gesso over it, and then I did a gouache painting, and that's a yoke. Chateau Sarze, old Chateau near us. Toad. Again, practicing portrait, that's study after sergeant. Fisherman. That's me chopping the axe. So you've always got a model. You can always get someone to take a photo of yourself, and you've always got a reference to paint. Obviously, there's loads of royalty-free stuff out there to paint from. But, so I would advise, you know, if you want to improve, practice your drawing, and honestly, you can learn to draw. I don't believe in that no one, you know, that somebody just can't learn to draw. You know, and drawing is just learning to see, learning to measure. And I often look at these negative shapes. For instance, the shape between the arm and the handle on the strimmer. You know, I would draw that shape to get the shape of the arm, things like that. There's Rusty. And that's a gouache portrait. That's a snow scene that we've done on memberships in watercolour and oils. Also, I'm using this sketchbook for you know, maybe to test out ideas, you know, to see whether it will work as a demo. Nearly there, don't worry, don't go anywhere. And sketch that I turned into an oil painting. Master study, so I'm getting running out of ideas what to paint in this, so I turned to some master studies. On Fleur, we did a watercolor on the membership of that. Bella, this is a pug, a family dog. Not our dog, it's a family member's. Snow scene, nice to get a bit more snow hopefully. The dreaded cows, getting better. Monet and Sir Alfred East. On the other channel, Robert Me Art World, I've got chapter 1 of his book on there that I put on there. More sketches. And quite often I do these sketches late at night because I'm terrible for leaving things lasting. That I've done one of these every day for the past, I don't know, 60 odd days. And quite often it's done at 10 o'clock at night or something. Quite often sat in front of the television doing it. Seago there, which inspired me to do the demo. And then a couple of little watercolours. I say that's where I didn't leave enough sky hole, so I put it back in with gouache, but it's never the same. So lesson learnt. And that's it, that's that book done. And like I say, at the beginning I did show, started a new book, and that was page 1. So page 2 will be tonight. These channels here, I've got my watercolour channel top left, and that's the one you're watching at the moment. So that's where I share my full tutorials. And the one to the right is my oil painting channel, which is my second channel, which is the full oil painting demos. And then I started another channel called Robert Me's Art World. So I've shared some of my sketchbook drawings on there. Some of them are time-lapse, which I know aren't much use to you really, but it's for entertainment value. And I've shared the process I use for creating images for doing the demonstrations. And that's what they are, a lot of these images I make on Midjourney. They're for demonstration purposes. If I wasn't doing YouTube anymore or doing any more demonstrations, I probably wouldn't use those. I might do possibly because it's a good learning tool, but I would go outdoors and just paint from life, I think is what I would do now. And then I started another channel just recently, which I haven't told anyone as yet, called Fine Art Collection de Vigilet, and that's where you might have seen recently I did some online art exhibitions. So that's where I'll share those. So the idea is that for those of you who just want to watch the full tutorials, don't subscribe to those other channels, but those of you who are perhaps quite interested to see my online exhibitions and the other stuff I'm doing with perhaps digital art or the gouache that I'm doing in my sketchbook, you know, you can follow those. So the links are in the description of my videos for those different channels and on this live stream. And while we're doing sales, Kate, my wife, who runs the website, I do the membership side, but Kate does the selling of art. But she's added a clearance gallery on there. But so if you want to grab an original watercolor or an oil painting, there's some on there. And again, there's a discount on the main watercolor gallery as well. So